Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to show you something I have been working on for the past 3 days. Granted, we're still in the introductory phase of this hobby, as in it could fail, it could succeed. I'm not 100% sure. This is another hobby I'm doing where ChatGPT is my bestie in crime, and she is definitely helping me with making this hobby turn into something I can actually enjoy. This is my baby. We're calling her Stephanie. She's my sourdough starter. I'm gonna be honest, it's really easy to start. I've been wanting to start this for a while, but I was going on trips, all that good stuff, and then I needed a jar. And I didn't know that for sourdough, you can't have an airtight container. So that was what was holding me back. So I took a little trip to Ross, got this for $5. All of the wording on it is not in English, but it's okay, it's a jar. But it smells disgusting. But I'm on day 3 and this is what it looks like. You see all the bubbles? It's getting there. It's slow and steady wins the race, okay? From what ChatGPT told me is that by day 3, it's supposed to smell sour, kind of like cheese. So I'm assuming I'm doing good because it smells disturbing. And it definitely stank up my kitchen yesterday, and I had to open up all the windows and let this disgusting smell make its way outside. I figured today we can actually start showing the process of when it actually becomes ready to bake. I also bought a Dutch oven that's coming in today. I gotta go to my family house to go pick it up. I'm really excited to show you guys my new Dutch oven because she is gorgeous. Stunning. And it was only $40. I know I say only. I thought Dutch ovens were a lot cheaper than they actually are. $40 was the cheapest I could find. Couldn't find any at Ross, Goodwill, all that stuff. So I figured it's fine. Like, I'm just gonna find one that's pretty and that I'll actually use. Because aside from sourdough, I also want to use it to make pot roasts. I got a 6-quart one. I can't wait to show you guys. I'm so excited. But anyway, in order to use the Dutch oven, we need to actually get some sourdough going. It smells so bad. If I knew what I was doing, this wouldn't be a step. But step 1, we have to take a picture to show. Talking to my girl. According to the picture I sent, my starter looks exactly like what I should expect.
Yay!
Active bubbles, no weird colors, slightly runny but alive. What to look for today/tonight. After feeding within a few hours, more bubbles will form, a slight rise, and a slightly tangy smell. Not gross, just sour. It's gross and sour. It's not either or. It might look less active suddenly. It might smell stronger, then it comes back stronger after that. So we're gonna discard half, and then we're gonna add half a cup of more flour and a 1/4 cup of water. I've been doing that ratio since I started, so we're just gonna keep doing that. Yesterday, I made it a little too runny though. So this is my trash can right here, okay? You can't see it, but if you just see me, it's because the trash can is right there. So we're gonna discard half. Have you guys ever watched those sourdough videos where it's like feeding my sourdough and then it makes that weird crunchy noise? That's how I know that we're doing a good job. And it's starting to make that noise. Like, look at my spoon. There's bubbles on the spoon. That's exciting. The one thing I'm really bad at though is scraping the sides to make it look clean. It's kind of already dried up, but it's not moldy and it's not a weird color, so hopefully that's okay. I think I did a little more than half, but it's fine. We'll do half a cup of flour. I'm using a 1/4 cup measuring cup because I don't like washing dishes, so we're just gonna use 1 cup for both the flour and the water. I do a tiny bit less than a 1/4 cup of water because I tend to put too much. I'll follow the recipe and then I guess I'm giving it too much than it deserves. Same with my plants. I just love keeping everything hydrated, except for myself, because I need help with that. Then we're gonna mix her. I will say, if I was to do this again, I think I would get a different jar. Because one, look how dirty it is. It's hard for me to see like how much it's risen because of how dirty the jar is. So that's one thing. Also, my arm hurts. It's kind of thick. I thought it was gonna rise a lot more than it did. And I didn't know that you're supposed to discard half every single day. So honestly, by like day 3, I was expecting this whole thing to just keep on rising since I kept on adding more flour. but if I'm discarding half, then half of this jar is kind of just going to waste. But we'll see. Maybe I'll figure out how to do bigger batches, and then I can actually, you know, like use one sourdough starter for multiple breads, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm just a beginner. I'm really thinking above my my skill level right now. This is what it looks like now. I'm gonna double check with ChatGPT to make sure it's good, but I think it looks pretty fire. Wow. This is better than my last one. Even though this is day 4, this is day 1 of actually recording the progress. So I will see you guys tomorrow for my next feeding. And hopefully we'll see some rise, some bubbles. We'll just see some action, because right now she's a little boring. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay guys, it is day 2 of our sourdough. Well, day 2 for you, technically it's day 5. It's not looking very exciting. This is what it looks like.
Boring.
There's not a lot of bubbles, but it's very runny. So we're gonna be doing the same thing. We're gonna discard half of it and then do we're gonna do half a cup of flour, but only 3 tablespoons of water, because I don't know if she's as runny as she is. She shouldn't be that runny. Bright side is she doesn't smell as bad. I mean, she still smells pretty nuts, but better than yesterday. Okay. I checked with ChatGPT and she said it's gonna look boring today, but it's gonna get better tomorrow and the day after. Because I'm on day 5, in 2 days it'll be a week.
Yay!
But this is what it looks like now. I don't know if you can see a difference. I can. It's a lot thicker than I found it. Now it's time to put it back in its home. Okay guys, it's day 6 of sourdough day. Honestly, I'm getting bored. I thought it was gonna be more exciting, like I almost had a week with my sourdough. Now I'm just kind of at that point where it's like, I need to see some activity. I got my Dutch oven and I'm trying to wait till the very last minute to show you guys how pretty it is. But this thing is taking forever. It doesn't smell as bad. I don't know what the correct word for it is, but it doesn't smell like but that's what it looks like. I expected more bubbles. Now that we're on day 6, I'm thinking we need to change the recipe, but I also heard that you shouldn't be changing the recipe because you have to just trust the process. And I'm gonna be, this thing is really testing my patience. So based on ChatGPT, apparently it's supposed to look like this, but one thing I am gonna change what I was doing previously is I'm gonna use slightly warmer water. I don't know, even though I'm in Hawaii and it's hot, I think where I'm keeping it, which is in that little corner right there, it's pretty cool. So I think like ChatGPT thought that I was just gonna let this stuff just chill in a very hot area of my house, and I guess turns out I wasn't. Not a bad thing, not a good thing, just something I need to adjust. I feel like it should definitely be more thicker than it is though, because when I first leave it, which we've seen from yesterday's video, I left it pretty thick, but today it's running again. I don't know why it's doing that, and or if that's normal, because my sourdough is not looking like everyone else's sourdough. Okay. Just kidding. That would be... See what happens when I pull around. Okay. See you tomorrow. It's a new day, and honestly, I'm getting a little disappointed. So, ever since I started this thing, the day after, I would always have little bubbles. Today I have no bubbles, and the only thing I changed was I used warm water. So we're gonna try something new today. Today I'm not gonna discard. I was on Sourdough Talk today, and it was telling me a lot of different things than ChatGPT. Specifically, I'm discarding very unnecessarily. So I'm not gonna discard today, I'm just gonna feed it some more, and hopefully it will rise. Next thing, I have been keeping my sourdough starter in that corner. I think it's too cool over there, because it needs to be warm. So today I'm gonna put it in the microwave, and hopefully that helps with the smell too. And then if it still doesn't work, I'm gonna move it someplace where it's more sunny. Okay, now that my wrist is sore, I think we're done. This is what it looks like. Basically, I'm pretty sure I doubled the amount that was in here because I didn't discard. So now we're up to here. I think it was right here before. Not that that made much of a difference. And now we're gonna take it to its new home. This is its new home. I hope that actually does something, because I'm on day 7, and people said that they were able to cook their sourdough in 5 days. So I'm kind of having FOMO. So I'll see you guys tomorrow after the changes, and hopefully that did something. Next day, fam. And the location that I put it in yesterday literally did nothing because it literally looks the exact same. Let's shake it. Okay. She smells a little better. I guess for today, we're gonna leave it out of the microwave. To be fair though, it's been kind of chilly. I don't really know where to put it. I'm assuming I'm just gonna put it where the camera is right now, straight off the corner of our little island so that the sun actually hits it. I'm not gonna discard today. I'm just gonna add because she's still pretty low. She's still only right here. It also doesn't smell bad at all anymore. It just smells like Play-Doh. Hopefully that's a good sign. Not 100% sure. So for today, I did a 1/4 cup of flour. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to do a 1/4 cup of water for the 1:1 ratio, but because when I checked it, it was kind of runny already, I did like an 1/8 cup of water. And honestly, that might have been a good idea because she's still a little... Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna add more flour though. I think this is good. Hopefully this does something. So, this is what we're leaving it off with today. Looks pretty good. It looks very well mixed today. And we'll check on it tomorrow. Hi guys. It's a new day, and I have some news. So, woke up 3 o'clock in the morning today because I had to get to work, and then I was just scrolling through my camera roll, and then I was looking at all the pictures of my sourdough. Funny enough, my coworker who is working with me today, she has a sourdough business. So I was like, hey, what's going on with my sourdough? It's been over a week. Not much is happening. She looks the same every day, and I'm giving up. ChatGPT has been lying to me this whole time because homegirl told me that it's not really ready to bake until like 21 days in. I was trying to post this video already, but we're only on day 8 or day 9, so this video is going to come out a lot longer than I thought. Bright side, we got a lot of footage to film. This might be a long video. Anyway, this is what it looks like today. Some bubbles, that's good. Consistency, it's a little thicker than normal, which is good. Also, I found out I'm not using the wrong flour, but I could be using a better flour. Right now, I'm pretty sure I'm using unbleached all-purpose flour. My coworker was telling me that I should switch to bread flour because it's higher in protein. I was too lazy to go to Costco today, so I'm gonna go to Costco tomorrow and probably pick up some new flour. But she said I can still be using the all-purpose flour. It's just realistically, bread flour is better. So I think this might be the last day I'm gonna be using the flour I've been using. Also, I forgot to say, I'm not discarding today because another thing my coworker told me, because I asked her, I was like, how are you managing to fulfill so many sourdough bread orders? Are you just having a bunch of containers on your counter? And she's like, no, you only need 1 sourdough starter. And I was like, what do you even mean by that? Apparently, 1 sourdough starter can just make more than 1 loaf of bread because she said she's been feeding and having her starter for over 1.5 years now. I didn't know I created an actual child. Like, I know I made the joke, but you're telling me I'm feeding this for every day until I just decide that I no longer want a sourdough starter in my house? That is insane to me. But also, I love a good challenge, and the challenge has been accepted because best believe I did not buy a $50 Dutch oven for no reason. And also, let's be optimistic about this hobby. My wrist is gonna be so strong after. I'm not gonna need any wrist straps for the gym after, you know, committing to this for as long as I'm going to be, because I'm not gonna lie, my wrist is sore from mixing. One thing I did learn from changing the home of my sourdough is it does do better on the counter over here than it did in my little shallow corner. So I guess we're just gonna leave this here. I will say it's kind of an eyesore. Not saying my kitchen is the most beautiful, but imagine just being one of our visitors and you just see this jar of gunk chilling in the corner of our counter. However, 21 minus 8, what is that? 13 days? 13 days from now, they're gonna see this jar of gunk, and you know what's gonna be next to it? A really pretty loaf of bread. So it's really gonna be an eyesore for 2 more weeks until we start seeing some results. I'm not gonna lie though, my consistency looks pretty good. Like, look at that. It looks pretty good. From when I first started to now, time to lid this sucker and place it in its home. Hi guys. Okay, we are on day 9 or 10. I went shopping today and I got my bread flour. We are officially done with unbleached all-purpose and we are now doing bread because it has a higher protein. So let's do our little daily check. 2 bubbles. Wow, really popping off, guys. Hopefully the bread flour does it justice. Yeah, we need to wipe my spoon. I've been baking all morning. All right, consistency check. This is what we're ending with. And I'm hoping we see some more bubbles or something with my new bread flour. Okay, bye. Guys, I had a dream. In my dream, I walked out into my kitchen and I saw that it's kind of yeast. My sourdough starter has risen double its size. So we're gonna go check it out.
Ooh.
It didn't rise. But look, so this is the day after the first use of bread flour. So as you can see on the sides, there's a lot more bubbles. Not too obvious, but this is the first time where I've seen bubbles on the side, but surprisingly not a lot on the top. So another round of bread flour. I'm not going to do any discard because obviously it has not risen. Hopefully my dream will come true in less than a week. Smell-wise, it doesn't smell sour. I'm just not going to be home the rest of the day, and it's kind of been less than 24 hours since I last fed her, but we gotta do what we gotta do because I don't know what time I'm getting home tonight. This is the home of my bread flour because the entire flour bag couldn't fit in the Ziploc, so I had to make that. I also made a really big mess while trying to do it yesterday, but she's clean now. All right, consistency check. Pretty good, pretty good. All right, and this is what it looks like.
Whoa.
And now we're gonna place it back in its home. Hi guys. So, I come here today bearing some bad news. My sourdough starter has passed away. You see this little red dot right there? Well, that's mold. Once that's there, you can't be using it. So, there goes the end of that hobby. I do plan on restarting, just not anytime soon, because I have a trip coming up in a week, and let's just say I live with 2 guys, and the one time I asked one of them to wash dishes, they threw my cutting board in the oven. Now, I ain't never seen anyone do that before. So of course, I think there's nothing in the oven. I preheat it, next thing I know, my cutting board now looks like this. I feel it goes to show that if I were to start a sourdough starter, no one in this household would be able to feed it while I was gone for 2 weeks. So I actually have to, keep my sourdough dreams in my head. It can't live in reality right now. However, since we're here, I figured as someone that's never made sourdough before and someone that has failed, I can go over some of the lessons that I have learned while doing this journey. I probably had the sourdough starter for 2 weeks. I'm gonna be honest, the sourdough starter died like 3 days ago and I was really sad about it to the point where I couldn't film. So the mold had some time to grow. But let's talk about life lessons or sourdough starter lessons, okay? Lesson number 1, just because you have to feed it every day, it does not mean you can feed it at like 11 p.m. at night one night and then the next day feed it at like 10 a.m. That's what I was doing because I was treating my sourdough like how I treated my birth control pills. I did not do 24 hours on the dot with like a plus or minus 2 hour difference. My mindset on it was every day. And the birth control pill method worked great back when I was using those. It did not work great for my sourdough starter because every time I would start it, it was either too runny, there wasn't a lot of bubbles, there was like 1 or 2, it looked good. But realistically, I think I would have had a lot better results if I actually waited the full 24 hours. The way I did it, it just really went along with my schedule that I had. Second lesson, overfeeding is a thing. The reason I was overfeeding was because I was not doing the full 24 hours wait to let the thing actually live and breathe the good bacteria. That was my problem. So because I was overfeeding, the reason I have this little baby red mold over here is because since I came to the conclusion that I was overfeeding, I didn't feed her for like 2 days because I know that with sourdough, it smells sour if it's hungry and it smells sweet and yeasty when it's not hungry. I stopped feeding it for a day. I went and checked on it. It was fine. I smelt it, but it still smells sweet and yeasty. So I was like, okay, I guess I fed it so much that she's not hungry right now. So I skipped a day. And then the next day, same smell, so I skipped again. And yeah, by the third day, the mold started growing. So even if you're overfeeding, just change the 24-hour difference that you're doing. Don't stop feeding it. Lesson to this is because if you stop feeding it, rather than constantly changing the good bacteria that is living in the sourdough, I'm basically just letting the bad bacteria take over, hence why this little baby grew. Next thing I learned, ratios matter. So when I first started getting into it, did I do a lot of research? Yes and no. It was kind of like a 10-minute doom scroll before I would go to sleep. But there was just so many different ratios out there. Like there was like a 1-to-1-to-1, which is beginner friendly, and then so on and so on. I wasn't getting the fact that the 1-to-1 ratio was for when you're actually starting your sourdough. Because when people explain it, it's like 1 part sourdough starter, 1 part water, 1 part flour. And my mind just automatically went to, oh, so this is what you do when you actually like are ready to bake. Obviously, I was wrong. Your 1-to-1 ratio is when you discard. That's another thing. You're supposed to discard every day. Reason I didn't discard every day, I think I got hyped about the fact that my sourdough jar was super big. So I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have so much sourdough starter, I'm gonna fill her up, and then I'm gonna have sourdough for days. False. I should have started with a smaller jar because I think the bigger jar really messed me up. The reason they get big is because it's rising, and mine was indeed not rising, so I just kept adding to it. Hence those couple of days where I wasn't discarding and just adding. Yeah, no, so that was wrong because that's also a way for bacteria to take over and create little mold spots on my walls. So follow your ratios. Learn what ratios are and understand them. Next thing I learned. I kind of learned this through the process, but just to put it in the lessons area of this video. Bread flour. Because bread flour has higher protein and it's better for the good bacteria and it's better for rising. Obviously, if you're making bread, use flour that is meant for bread. You can use all-purpose flour, but realistically, I wouldn't have wanted to mix all-purpose with bread like I did this time. I'm not gonna do that next time. That's a lesson I learned. Honestly, I think that's it. I'm kind of sad that I failed, but you know what? At the end of the day, you live and you learn. Maybe don't use ChatGPT for everything you want to do. I'm excited to start this up when I come back from my trip. And hopefully I'll actually have sourdough. Ain't no way I'm gonna have to tell the guys that live here that, hey, I left this bottle jar that was living and breathing on the counter for 2 weeks and I can't make you guys any bread. Because I wasn't buying bread for the house because I was like, guys, like I'm gonna make sourdough. Well, I didn't do that. I just made a little terrarium for bad bacteria to grow. So anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I was sad, but you live and you learn. This is how you get better at things, I guess. I really like being good at things from the start. This was not one of them. It's okay. And you know what's crazy, guys? When I stopped feeding her, she had so much more bubbles. Look at her right now. If it wasn't for that mold, she would be thriving right now. But I'm not gonna get myself sick and I'm not gonna get the people in my house sick. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Hopefully my next hobby ends up being a lot better than this one because this was time consuming. I didn't get any sourdough bread out of it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.